Hey guys, it's Shadow. This is episode 2 of my 1k to 1400 ELO series. This time we'll be discussing how to manage an efficient economy. One of the most important things in regards to an efficient economy, especially in the early game, is having efficient lumber camps, mining camps, and mills with their respective resources. Placing them in inefficient ways can cause more villager bumping, stuck villagers, and in extreme cases, villagers will path even more poorly. Lumber camps should be placed directly next to the wood line you're taking. Mills should be placed directly next to the berries or shorefish or as close to the deer patch as possible. And mining camps should be placed one tile back from stone and gold deposits. However, a town centre should be placed directly next to the resource you're taking, regardless of its type. You may need to micromanage villagers when they are pathing around a resource inefficiently or when they get stuck. Villagers pathing inefficiently is more common when it comes to golden berries and get stuck more often in woodlines from what I have seen. A quick scan of your base every now and then can help prevent these inefficiencies, which are of particular importance in the early game. Knowing when to refresh lumber camps is also quite important. When villagers are walking 3 or more tiles to the nearest lumber camp, it should be refreshed for maximum efficiency. If you are floating a little bit of wood and are in need of a lot of gold or stone, it is almost always ideal to have a second mining camp on the opposite side of the first one. This reduces villager walking time and bumping. When you reach the next age, it is essential to get the woodcutting upgrade as quickly as possible, due to wood having the biggest increase in collection rate per upgrade. This is less important in Imperial Age, but still a good thing to keep in mind. Farming and gold mining upgrades are also important, but are often gotten at different times according to the build you're doing. Generally speaking, the gold mining upgrade should be gotten on the way up to Castle Age. A good thing to keep in mind is that wheelbarrow and handcart affect the collection rate of food and other resources, whereas only one farming upgrade does, that being heavy plow. Farming upgrades in the long term save wood. Speaking of wheelbarrow, it is one of the most helpful upgrades in the game for your economy, especially for farms. It improves the speed of villagers as well as increasing the carry capacity, which makes your economy slightly harder to raid and much more efficient. It should be gotten when you have about 14 farmers ideally, although a good roundabout number of villagers to get it on is around 34. Handcart is slightly more tricky to time due to the investment cost of it versus going up to Imperial Age earlier, but unless I'm doing a one town centre all in, I will always aim to get handcart as I'm heading up to the Imperial Age. Your town centres should almost never go idle throughout Dark, Feudal and Castle Age. Even throughout the Imperial Age, you may still need to be constantly producing villagers depending on how many you have and if you're getting raided, for example. A good number of villages to aim for in the Imperial Age is about 120, but depending on your army comp and civ, this may be lower or higher. When you start floating a lot of resources and have a lot of army in the queue, this is a sign that you should start deleting some villages and increase your army size to overwhelm your opponent. Something that has helped me a lot since I have made a conscious effort to improve is treating population like a resource. In the early game, you do not need as much population space, so ever investing in houses not only wastes wood, but also wastes time spent to build the house at that point in time. This slows up times and makes it harder to make army and farms, as your resources will be more limited. On the other hand, not building enough houses is also a huge issue. This can snowball into a delayed rush or not having population space for a unit which is crucial at that time. For example, getting a mangonel to deal with crossbows running around your base. I generally have one villager constantly building houses when I'm producing from 3 or more buildings. This includes town centres. Your resources should be kept low at all times unless you have a specific reason for banking them. For example, if you need to get to the next age or get a certain technology like ballistics. This is helped by regularly checking your TC rally points, as you can ensure that your economy is being balanced proactively and that new villagers are consistently being sent to work. In regards to balancing eco, it is important your economy is set up for the units you are planning to produce and the buildings you need. For example, if you are producing a mixture of knights and pikes, you will not need a huge number of villagers on wood to keep up production. Do not be afraid to abandon farms to rebalance your eco. For example, an army of cavalry archers, pikes and mangonels do not require much food to be produced alongside villager production. Having too many farmers in this situation can cause you to be unable to mass. These farms will be automatically used by farmers around the TC later anyway. Army composition will be talked about in a future video, so stay tuned for that. During feudal and early castle age, you may find yourself floating a lot of wood if you're not seeding farms or making fishing eco. This will slow your uptimes quite considerably. However, if you have let your eco balance get away from you too much and start floating a huge amount of one resource, do not panic. In the short term, you may need to build a market and rebalance it according to your needs. You can make a note of this for later as a reminder to look at your eco balance in future games, but a market rebalance at this point in time can keep you in the game and possibly even allow you to make a comeback. It is extremely important to keep your economy working and increasing in size whilst you are applying pressure to your opponent during most rush strategies. Regularly using the idle villager hotkey, queuing villagers and jumping to your town centres will help with this. I hope this has been a good insight into how to manage an efficient economy throughout the game. The next video will be focusing on scouting and how to use this information. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with this series. Thanks for watching.